The skies of Thala had once been songs of color. From orbit, the planet shimmered like a jewel. Oceans of crystal blue stretched vast and endless, dotted with chains of green islands. Mountains rose in prismatic ridges, their quartz faces scattering the dawn into rainbow fire. At night, the heavens themselves seemed to join the music of the world, auroras sweeping the poles like curtains of emerald flame, constellations mirrored in the still surface of endless lakes. To the Thalori, it was not merely a home. It was a canvas. They were artists by nature, their very biology lending itself to beauty. Their tall, slender forms were translucent, as though carved from glass, refracting light into subtle hues. Each Thalori's color was slightly different, shaped by mood and health, shimmering blues in joy, deep purples in grief, pale gold in thought. For thousands of years, their society had been built not on conquest or survival, but on expression. They cultivated harmony. Every city was a sculpture, every building a poem. Their music, resonant tones that reverberated through their crystal bodies, was said to soothe storms and calm the very seas. Their histories told of wars, yes, but always as shadows in the past, lessons never to be repeated. Peace, they believed, was the highest art, but peace had no defense against fire. The first Kazith ship appeared above Thala on the Festival of Lights. For 3 days, the Thalori had gathered across the planet to celebrate renewal, weaving great tapestries of refracted crystal across their cities, singing choirs that filled the air with resonant harmonies. Children chased light birds through the plazas, artisans unveiled their masterpieces, elders told stories under the glow of lanterns. Then the sky tore open. The warship descended like a blade of obsidian, eclipsing the sun. Its hull bristled with weapons. Its sheer size dwarfed even the tallest towers. At first, many thought it was some cosmic accident, an asteroid or comet, until the bombardment began. Lances of plasma carved through the atmosphere, igniting the air in thunderclaps of fire. Towers of crystal melted in seconds, collapsing into molten rivers. Plazas became craters. Singing choirs were reduced to ash mid-verse. The Thalori had no weapons. Their satellites were for weather, their ships for trade. Their last military outpost had been decommissioned centuries earlier, its weapons dismantled. Their fleets carried crops, not guns. Their defenses were words, not war. Against the Kazith, they were as lambs before wolves. More ships followed, dozens, hundreds. They spread across the planet like a swarm, enslaving survivors, torching resistance, consuming resources. The Kazith did not come for diplomacy. They came for dominion. In the city of Vera, once famed for its endless bridges of glass, a mother named Asura clutched her child in the smoke. Her crystalline skin flickered red with terror as she fled through the rubble. The Kazith descended in dropships, armored beasts with eyes of burning steel. They rounded up survivors at gunpoint. Her child, barely glowing with the pale light of youth, whimpered, "Why do they hate us, mother?" Asura had no answer. She pressed her lips to his forehead and whispered only, "Run when I tell you." In the northern fields of Selûne, a farmer named Drell watched his crops burn. The golden stalks that once fed thousands were reduced to blackened stubble. He had no weapons, only calloused hands and a broken plow. When the soldiers came, he stood in their path, trembling, refusing to move. He lasted 7 seconds before a plasma bolt ended him. In the great archive of Kairos, scholars wept as centuries of knowledge burned. Artifacts, music, histories, all disintegrated in an instant. One archivist, Lyra, threw herself into the flames, desperate to save even a single manuscript. She died with it clutched to her chest, her body collapsing into molten glass. Everywhere, the world cracked and shattered. Weeks later, what remained of the Thalori leadership gathered deep beneath the crystal mountains. Their council chamber had once been a hall of mirrors, every surface reflecting light into dazzling rainbows. Now it was a cavern of rough stone, hastily reinforced with metal beams, the air stale with recycled oxygen. There were fewer than 20 counselors left. Elder Ceres stood at the center. Their crystalline body was worn, edges chipped. their once vivid hues dulled by exhaustion. Yet their voice, resonant and calm, carried authority. Our people dwindle, Ceres said. Every day the Kazith harvest more of us. Those they do not take for labor are left to starve. We cannot feed the enclaves. Our children cry out. Our songs falter. We are fading. A younger counselor, Jeth, slammed his hand on the table. His skin flashed crimson with rage. Then we fight. We have mining lasers, plasma cutters. We can forge weapons. Better to burn than to wither in silence. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some nodded in agreement, others turned away in despair. Ceres fixed Jeth with tired eyes. Against ships that blacken the sky, against soldiers who wield suns in their hands, would you have our people slaughtered in moments, their deaths meaningless? Jeth glared but had no reply. A small, trembling voice came from the corner. It belonged to a youth, barely grown, their colors still faint and unformed. Then what remains for us, Elder? If we cannot fight, if we cannot flee, what is left? Ceres closed their eyes. They had asked themselves the same question every night in the silence of the caverns, and only one answer had come. We send our voices, Ceres said softly, into the void. Perhaps no one will hear, perhaps no one will care, but at least the stars will know that we lived. That we cried out before the end. The last engineers scavenged parts from shattered observatories, cobbling together a crude transmitter in the depths of the cavern. It was not elegant, it was not strong, but it could send a signal. They debated what to say. Some argued for records of their history, their art, others for pleas of mercy. In the end, Ceres chose simplicity. The message was built in layers. Mathematics first, the language of the cosmos, prime numbers, constants, equations. Harmonic tones next, resonant patterns impossible to mistake for natural phenomena. Language last, cycling through phonemes, pictographs and meanings. And within all of it, a single plea repeated, "We are dying, please, if you exist, help us." They transmitted it for hours, days, weeks. The machine hummed, scattering their cry in every direction, across wavelengths and channels. When at last they shut it down, the cavern fell into silence. Some wept quietly, crystalline tears chiming as they struck the stone floor. Others simply stared into the dark, hollow-eyed. Many believed the message was nothing more than a futile gesture, the last breath of a dying world. Outside, the skies burned, and yet, in the endless sea of stars, the void listened. On the ISS Horizon Array, most shifts blurred together. Perched nearly 5 billion kilometers from Earth, the station was humanity's farthest listening post, an enormous ring of receivers tuned to the whispers of the universe. The technicians often joked it was like fishing in an ocean so vast that one might wait centuries to feel a tug. Arya Callan didn't mind the monotony. At 26, she loved the quiet, the endless black of Neptune's orbit, the slow pulse of stars. Her colleagues preferred the excitement of planetary stations or research labs. She preferred solitude and data streams. That evening, while sipping her cooling tea, her console pinged. Another anomaly, probably a pulsar echo, she thought, or interference from solar winds. She keyed in filters, humming absently as lines of static scrolled past. But this pulse was different. It repeated, not perfectly but insistently, almost like a heartbeat. Arya leaned closer. Her fingers danced over controls, layering the frequencies. The pattern grew sharper, numbers emerged, then tones, then something like words. The AI translator struggled, rebooted, then spat out a string of text. She read it once, twice. Her breath caught. "We are dying, please, if you exist, help us." For a moment, Arya simply sat frozen, tea forgotten, hands trembling. She whispered, "Control, you'd better get down here." Within hours, the Horizon Array transformed into chaos. Engineers rushed between consoles, scientists argued in overlapping voices. Some swore it was a prank, others said the complexity was undeniable. Dr. Vikram Patel, the station's senior astrophysicist, pressed his palms against the console. His normally calm voice shook. "It's real, the harmonic resonance, it carries emotional tone." This wasn't designed for efficiency. It was designed to beg. Some dismissed it as dangerous. Others fell silent, staring at the translation like scripture. The signal was relayed to Earth immediately. Officially, it went only to the United Council of Nations. Unofficially, fragments leaked within days. By the end of the week, humanity knew. First contact had come, and it wasn't a triumph. It was a cry for help. The chamber in Geneva had not been so crowded in decades. Delegates from every nation bloc filled the semicircle, their flags glowing in hollow display behind them. The air was hot with tension. President Alondra Ruiz of the North American Union stood at the podium, her presence commanding. "We are gathered here," she began, "because humanity has been called upon." A message came not from one of our nations, not even from our planet, but from the stars themselves. Her words sent a ripple through the chamber. Admiral Chen of the Pan-Pacific Fleet rose sharply. "With all respect, Madam President, we do not know who sent this. It could be a ruse, a lure from a hostile power. We send ships, and perhaps we never see them again." Or, countered Sophia Leclerc, the European delegate, "it could be exactly what it seems, a cry for help. Do we ignore it out of fear?" A delegate from the South American Federation leaned forward. "Our resources are strained. Climate recovery is unfinished. Our people are hungry. And you would send our limited fleet chasing after a phantom, Dr. Patel, invited as scientific advisor, slammed his palm on the table. "Listen to the cadence, the mathematical structure, the emotional tone. You can hear the fear in it. No machine would waste energy broadcasting desperation unless it was real." Voices rose, overlapping in argument. Chen's voice cut through. "If we answer, we risk annihilation. If we ignore it, we risk nothing." "No," Ruiz snapped, steel in her eyes. "If we ignore it, we risk our humanity." The chamber fell to tense silence. Outside Geneva, the decision was already being made in living rooms, cafes, streets, and digital forums. In Sao Paulo, thousands marched with banners that read "Answer the Call." In Lagos, medics signed petitions to volunteer for an off-world mission. In Mumbai, engineers live-streamed blueprints for modular FTL supply pods. Children across the world posted shaky videos whispering, "Please don't let them die." The story ignited humanity's imagination. First contact had always been expected to bring awe or fear, but this brought compassion. A global crowdfunding campaign sprang up overnight, funneling billions toward research, shipbuilding, anything that could help. On forums, strangers from opposite sides of old rivalries worked side by side, sharing code, designs, medical strategies. For the first time in generations, Earth felt united, not by fear, not by conquest, but by empathy. Back in Geneva, the Council debated for days. Arguments circled endlessly: risk, cost, fear. At last, President Ruiz stood again, her voice hoarse from lack of sleep. "We stand at a crossroads," she said. "We can be the kind of species that hears a cry for help and turns away, or we can be the kind that answers. History will not remember our excuses, it will remember our choice." No one spoke. When the vote came, it was razor-thin. For hours, no one knew if it had passed. Then the tally appeared on the great hollow screen. Humanity would go, not with an armada, there was none, not with fleets of warships, there were no fleets, only with a single vessel, the experimental ISS Dauntless, humanity's first and only jump-capable ship. She was untested, small, fragile, but she carried humanity's fire. The Dauntless was humanity's first and only hope, and its crew reflected the world. Captain Elias Morin, 54, had grown up in the coastal cities of France. His father had been a fisherman, lost at sea, and his mother a schoolteacher. He had always carried the calm of one who faces storms, both literal and metaphorical. On this mission, that calm was tested constantly. Science officer Arya Callan, the woman who discovered the Thalori plea, had been drafted from the Horizon Array. She was meticulous, stubborn, and brilliant, but untested in deep space navigation and zero-G combat. Her thin frame belied the steel inside. Chief Engineer Malik Osai, 32, from Accra, had built half of the propulsion systems himself. He spoke with an easy humor, the kind that could calm nerves, yet his eyes betrayed a constant calculation, always measuring risk. Pilot Lieutenant Jun Park, 28 from Seoul, carried the precision of a master gamer and the tension of someone who had lost a sibling in a shuttle accident. He trusted his instincts more than anyone else, and that trust had to be absolute on the Dauntless. Medical Officer Dr. Lena Bhatt, 30, from Mumbai, had saved lives in war zones and epidemics alike. She was driven by the impossible need to heal, to preserve life at any cost. And finally, communications specialist Tomasz Nowak, 35, from Warsaw, whose voice would carry humanity's message across the void. He had a poet's soul and a technician's hands, essential for translating the Thalori broadcast accurately. Together, they formed a crew as diverse as the planet they left behind. The Dauntless sat at the edge of the Pacific launch station like a spear pointed at the stars. Engineers moved frantically, connecting power cables, running diagnostic checks, and ensuring the jump engines were ready. Captain Morin paced, "We have one shot, and nothing in the manuals tells us what the Thalori jump signal will feel like in real space." Malik laughed, a dry humor. "We'll either arrive in paradise or somewhere worse than the Mariana Trench. Either way, we'll make history." Area's console beeped. Jump vector calculations complete. Signal is encoded across multiple wavelengths. Redundancy is high. If it's real, we can get there. Lena approached her. "Real or not, we're human, and humans don't turn away from a cry for help." The crew trained for weeks in zero-G simulators, ran through emergency procedures, and studied the Thalori mathematics over and over. By the day of launch, Earth itself seemed to hold its breath. Families gathered on observation platforms. Children clutched holographic projections of their parents. Messages streamed live across global networks. Captain Morin's granddaughter, 8 years old, stepped forward and handed him a small crystal she had made in art class. "For luck," she whispered. His eyes glimmered with unshed tears. Arya received a simple letter from her mother, "Bring them home." "Bring yourself home." She folded it into her pocket, the paper soft against her fingers, carrying weight heavier than titanium. Malik hugged his younger brother tightly. "Take care of Mom, I'll see you soon." His voice cracked, betraying the stoic exterior he always maintained. Across the globe, billions watched as the countdown began. Humanity's first interstellar rescue mission was about to launch. The engines roared to life, shaking the launch bay. The crew's bodies pressed into their seats as the Dauntless lifted. Jun Park's hands moved over the controls with precision, engaging jump sequence in T-10 seconds. Area monitored the signal decoding. The Thalori message pulsed steadily, guiding them like a lighthouse across the void. 3, 2, 1, space itself seemed to fold. Reality shimmered like heat above a desert road. The stars stretched into streaks of color, and then silence. The Dauntless emerged in a new void, no familiar constellations, no sense of gravity or time, only the pulsing Thalori signal, faint but undeniable. The crew exhaled as one. Relief, awe, and terror mingled in their veins. They were the first humans to touch a world beyond the solar system, and they were carrying the weight of a dying planet's hope. Malik spoke first, voice trembling with wonder. "We made it. We actually made it." Captain Morin's eyes were fixed on the signal. "And now, we bring the fire of humanity." Even as wonder swept over the crew, tension remained. The Thalori did not speak of their enemies in detail, only their need. The Kazith were an unknown, an incomprehensible threat, and yet humanity had no choice but to act. Arya decoded the signal further, discovering encrypted coordinates pointing to the planet's last safe enclave. The data suggested a population of a few thousand, clustered in crystal caves beneath the mountains. They were starving, terrified, and waiting. Tomasz Nowak began compiling a response. "We have to assure them, not just that help is coming, but that they are not alone, that we are human and we care." Lena Bhatt prepared medical kits for thousands, knowing the real work would begin the moment they landed. Captain Morin looked at his crew, his family of choice. "This is it. No matter what we find, no matter what comes, we act. Humanity doesn't abandon those in need." The crew nodded, a shared fire lighting their faces. The Dauntless sailed silently toward Thala. Outside, space was an endless black sea dotted with alien stars. Inside, humanity's first interstellar hope carried courage, skill, and compassion. The Thalori had sent a message. And now the Dauntless was the answer. For the first time in eons, the dying planet of Thala might have a chance, and humanity was determined to be that chance. The Dauntless emerged from jump space into orbit above Thala, and the crew's eyes went wide. The planet was a palette of despair. Vast crystal forests, once glittering and alive, were shattered into jagged shards that pierced the red skies. Smoke rose from deep fissures, and oceans glimmered with chemical runoff, poisoned from industrial-age weapons long abandoned by the Thalori. Arya's voice cracked over the comms, whispering almost to herself, "They've suffered, but the signal was true." Jun Park maneuvered the ship, its hull creaking under gravitational adjustments. Sensors indicate energy pulses across the northern continent, Kazith weaponry still active. Malik scanned the readings. Thermal anomalies, radiation spikes, unstable terrain, landing zones are limited. Captain Morin's jaw set. "We came to help, that's all that matters." The Dauntless slowly descended, a solitary streak of human hope against a sky burning with alien decay. Inside the ship, emotions collided. Lena Bat began organizing medical teams and triage procedures. "If we survive the landing, we have work to do immediately. This isn't just a rescue, it's a war zone." Tomas Novak attempted to stabilize communications with Thala's remaining population. His fingers flew over the controls, translating centuries-old dialects of the Thalori language, but he paused at every phrase. The alien's tone carried fear, sadness, and disbelief. Arya stared out the viewport, tears streaking her face. "We are really here, we can actually do something." Captain Morin put a hand on her shoulder. "And we will, that's why we trained, why we left Earth." The human crew, though scared, shared a single thought. "We are here, we are humanity, and we will not fail." The Thalori emerged from their subterranean enclave slowly. Their bodies were crystalline, reflecting the red haze above. Limbs elongated like jagged icicles, faces devoid of what humans would call eyes, yet capable of perceiving thought and emotion. At first, they recoiled. The Kazith had warned them that no outside race would come to help. Arya initiated communication. "We received your signal. We are here to help. We are human." The Thalori paused, processing the strange, emotional cadence of the words. For the first time in decades, hope flickered across the crystal surfaces of their faces. One elder, shimmering with violet fractals, stepped forward. Thought waves flooded the Dauntless's translators. "We feared we were alone. Who are you? Why do you come?" Tomas Novak responded carefully, voice trembling but clear. "We are from Earth. We answer calls for help. You are not alone anymore." Slowly, the Thalori began to emerge fully, revealing families, children, and elders, all trembling and cautious. Lena Bat's voice was soft, compassionate. "We'll take care of you. You are safe now." The crew watched in awe as fear slowly shifted to tentative relief. Humanity had arrived, and the Thalori understood that help had come. But the hope was fragile. Sensors picked up a massive approaching fleet of Kazith ships, sleek, black, and jagged, like shards of obsidian cutting through space. Their weaponry was aimed directly at the Thalori settlements. Captain Morin barked orders, "Shields up, evasive maneuvers." "Arya, I want every weak point in their fleet mapped." Malik prepped the thrusters for maximum output. The crew realized the magnitude of the danger. This was not a simple rescue. The Kazith were predators, systematic and merciless, and the Thalori could not defend themselves. Jun Park's knuckles whitened on the controls. "They're coming fast. If we don't act, they'll wipe the enclave out before we can land." Arya's mind raced. "There's a canyon north of the main enclave, narrow enough to funnel their ships. We can draw them in, disable their fleet using thruster volleys, and buy time for evacuation." Captain Morin nodded. "Human ingenuity versus alien brutality. Let's show them what we can do." The crew worked with precision born of necessity. Malik recalibrated the thrusters to allow controlled gravity distortion fields. while Lena prepared med kits for immediate deployment. Thomas coordinated evacuation protocols with Thalori families, teaching them how to move swiftly through tunnels and safe zones. Arya initiated a makeshift communication network using human signal processing to amplify Thalori defenses. "We're a single ship," she said, voice steady, "but we can buy you time." Captain Morin looked at his crew, eyes fierce. "This is it. Humanity is not just a species. We are hope, courage, and determination. We do not abandon those in need. That's why we exist." The Dauntless surged forward toward the canyon, engines flaring against the crimson sky of Thala. The Kazith fleet advanced in perfect formation, oblivious to the humans' plan. And for the first time, the fire of humanity shone across the stars. The Dauntless drifted above the canyon, engines whispering in the thin atmosphere of Thala. Below, the Thalori had begun evacuating through narrow crystal corridors, guided by Thomas Novik's voice over improvised communication relays. The crew waited, hearts pounding, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. The Kazith fleet approached like a swarm of black meteors, their jagged hulls glinting under Thala's blood-red sun. Captain Morin gathered the crew in the command deck. "This is the moment we've trained for. They have numbers, weapons, and ruthlessness. We have human ingenuity, courage, and the will to survive and to save an entire species." Jun Park's hands hovered over the controls. "They're fast, too fast for direct combat. We'll need to manipulate their movements, funnel them." Arya's mind worked frantically. "We can use the canyon's gravitational anomalies and our thrusters to create artificial turbulence. It'll disrupt their formation and give the Thalori time to escape." Malik grinned, a spark of mischief in his eyes. "Nothing like turning natural disasters into weapons. Let's show them Earth engineering." Lena Bat tightened her gloves, "And we'll be ready to treat every wound, every injury." "We can't fail them." The crew, nervous yet determined, took their positions. The Kazith advanced in tight formation, black silhouettes cutting through Thala's crimson sky. Suddenly, the lead ships fired energy pulses, tearing chunks of rock from the canyon walls. Jun Park's hands moved with precision. "Engage thruster volleys." Arya released signal flares to misdirect their targeting arrays. The Dauntless shuddered as energy pulses grazed the hull. Malik adjusted the gravity distortion fields, creating chaotic eddies of plasma and dust that confused the Kazith sensors. Ships swerved unpredictably, crashing into canyon walls. The Thalori below screamed in terror, but Thomas's voice guided them. "Keep moving, follow the lights. Humanity is with you." Captain Morin gritted his teeth. "We've bought them time, but we need a decisive strike or more will die." Arya analyzed the enemy fleet. "There's a weak point in their formation. 3 ships at the rear are lagging. If we hit them simultaneously, we can break their wedge and scatter the rest." Jun Park nodded. "On my mark now." The Dauntless fired coordinated energy pulses, a perfect storm of human ingenuity. The trailing Kazith ships collided and tumbled, their formation broken. Chaos spread through the fleet. Malik adjusted the thrusters to create a temporary artificial gravity spike, sending several Kazith vessels spinning out of control. Arya used the ship's sensors to amplify the canyon's natural echoes, turning them into sonic disruptors for the enemy ships. Captain Morin's voice rang out. "This is what humanity does. We fight smarter, not just harder." The crew watched as one particularly large Kazith dreadnought began to overheat, its systems unable to handle the combined chaos of human tactics. Arya's face lit up. Directing their energy feedback into a canyon vent, they'll have to retreat or be destroyed. The Kazith vessel exploded in a brilliant flash, scattering black shards into the sky. Below, the Thalori cheered, realizing their lives were no longer forfeit. Lena rushed to monitor the evacuation. "They're making it. Families are moving through the tunnels." "Children, they're alive." Thomas's voice trembled with awe. "Humanity, we're actually saving them." Even amidst victory, the crew faced moments of fear and introspection. Jun Park felt the familiar rush of adrenaline and fear. His sibling's death in a shuttle accident flashed in his mind, but he pushed it aside. Every maneuver now had life-or-death stakes for thousands of alien civilians. Arya felt guilt and awe intertwined. She had calculated the Thalori's survival odds down to percentages, and yet nothing prepared her for seeing them run through the tunnels, lives in their fragile crystalline hands. Malik's humor masked deeper fear. He whispered under his breath, "Come on, human engineering, don't fail us now." Every adjustment, every calculated risk, was a test of both skill and courage. Captain Morin, as always, was the anchor. His calm presence inspired confidence, his voice a steady flame against the storm of alien fire. After hours of maneuvering, sabotage, and tactical brilliance, the Kazith retreated, their fleet scattered, battered, and disoriented. The canyon, a natural ally to humanity, had become a trap they could not escape without heavy losses. The Thalori, now safe within the cavern enclaves, erupted in crystal chimes of gratitude. Elder voices resonated through Thomas's translation system. "You have saved us. You are not of this world, yet your hearts burn brighter than our sun. We owe you more than words." Captain Morin exhaled, exhaustion and triumph mixing in his chest. "We did it. Humanity did it." But even in victory, the cost was clear. The Dauntless had sustained hull damage. Radiation exposure from Kazith energy weapons required Malik to perform emergency repairs. The crew was exhausted, sleep-deprived, and emotionally raw. And somewhere in the shadows of space, the remaining Kazith plotted their return. Arya looked out at the red sky, tears streaking her face. "This isn't over, they'll come back." Captain Morin nodded. "Then we'll be ready. Humanity doesn't give up, not on its people, not on those who cannot defend themselves. That's what makes us us." Lena placed a hand on his shoulder. "And we'll heal what we can." Every life counts. Jun Park finally allowed himself a deep breath. "We actually did it. We saved them." The Dauntless hovered above the canyon, battered but unbowed, a shining symbol of human courage, ingenuity, and compassion. Humanity had arrived, and it had made a difference. The fire of humanity was no longer a promise, it was a reality. The crimson skies of Thalos slowly began to clear, revealing glimpses of its natural beauty beneath the scars of war. Vast forests of crystalline trees shimmered faintly through the lingering dust. Rivers glinted with chemical-tainted water, and the mountains, once jagged and broken, reflected the pale light of Thalos' sun. The Dauntless hovered in low orbit, its hull scarred from the previous battle but still functional. Inside, the crew moved with purpose, tending to injuries, repairing systems, and preparing for the next phase, rebuilding. Lena Bat coordinated the makeshift field hospitals with Thalori healers. She studied the alien biology quickly, adapting human medical protocols to Thalori physiology. "Their circulation is crystalline," she explained to Thomas Novak. "We can't use blood substitutes, but energy-stabilizing treatments should help. They're fragile, but they're resilient." Elders and families cautiously emerged from the tunnels, observing the humans with a mix of awe and cautious optimism. For the first time in decades, the Thalori felt safety and hope. Arya and Thomas worked tirelessly to translate and understand Thalori technology and history. The crystalline species had advanced knowledge of energy manipulation, which humans could not fully grasp yet, but they eagerly learned. "We can combine their energy matrices with our propulsion systems," Arya said, eyes bright with possibility. "If we integrate even a fraction of their tech, we could improve the Dauntless and fortify this planet." One Thalori elder, violet fractals shimmering, approached and extended a limb in greeting. The gesture conveyed trust and gratitude. Thomas relayed it carefully. "They offer cooperation and friendship." Jun Park began working with Thalori engineers to create defensive structures. "We'll make this canyon a fortress. Human engineering meets Thalori resilience." He sketched designs on hollow panels, blending alien architecture with Earth engineering principles. Malik experimented with energy redirection devices, integrating human thrusters with Thalori power conduits. Sparks flew both literally and figuratively as humans and aliens collaborated on technology neither could achieve alone. Despite the victory, wounds, both physical and emotional, were abundant. Many Thalori had lost family members. Fear lingered in their crystal voices. Lena walked among the shelters, her hands gentle on the fractured limbs of young Thalori. "You are safe now," she whispered. "You will live and your children will grow. Humanity will not let you face this alone." Aria found herself sitting with a small group of Thalori children, sharing stories of Earth's forests and oceans. Their crystalline laughter was tentative at first, then blossomed into joy. It was a small, fragile light in a darkened world, but a light nonetheless. Captain Morin oversaw the evacuation and recovery. "We've saved lives," he said quietly to his crew, "but we must prepare for the next attack. The Kazith will return, and when they do, we must be ready to defend not only Thala, but all life that cannot defend itself." The humans and Thalori convened in a council chamber carved into the canyon walls. Holographic projections displayed Kazith movement patterns, fleet size estimates, and energy weapon capabilities. Arya analyzed every scenario. If the Kazith return, they will adapt. We need layered defenses, rapid response evacuation routes, and integrated human Thalori strike teams. Jun Park added, "We can use the terrain. Canyons, cliffs, and energy fields can act as natural traps. Combine that with our thrusters and energy redirects, and we can even the odds." Malik smirked, fatigue lining his face. "Leave the tricky calculations to me. I'll turn their fleet into shattered space debris if they try to come back." Captain Morin addressed the council. "We must teach them how to defend themselves. Humanity is here to guide, but they will need courage, ingenuity, and hope. And we will provide it, because that is who we are." The Thalori elders, their crystalline forms glimmering with cautious pride, agreed. Together, humans and Thalori forged a plan that combined the best of both species: strategy, technology, and heart. Beyond tactics and technology, the humans' presence inspired the Thalori in ways they had not imagined. Elder voices resonated through Thomas's translator. "You are not of this world, yet you fight for what is right. You do not seek power or domination. You fight for life itself." Captain Morin felt a swell of pride. "This is what makes us human," he said softly to his crew. "Our strength is not in weapons, not in numbers, but in courage, compassion, and the refusal to let fear decide the future." Lena added, "And in our ability to heal, not just bodies but hope itself." Aria looked out at the recovering landscape, sunlight glinting off crystalline trees. "We came here as strangers, now we are allies, and we've made a difference." Jun Park placed a hand on the shoulder of a young Thalori engineer. "Remember this, the fire of humanity burns for all who cannot defend themselves. That is our gift, that is our promise." Days turned into weeks. The Thalori settlements began to rebuild under the guidance of human expertise and Thalori resilience. Small fields of energy-conducting plants were planted, tunnels stabilized, and crystal towers reinforced. Children played cautiously among the safe zones, their laughter echoing through the canyon. Adults learned new defensive techniques, guided by Jun, Malik, and Arya. Captain Morin watched from the command deck, the first faint signs of peace settling over the planet. "We've saved them from one attack," he said quietly, "but the war is not over. The Kazith will return, but now we are ready." Thomas Novak smiled, watching humans and Thalori work side by side. They have learned something more than tactics or engineering. They've learned hope, and once hope exists, nothing can truly destroy it. Lena Bat placed her hand on the console, eyes closing briefly. "This is why we left Earth. This is why we risk everything, to make a difference where it counts, to leave light in the darkness." The Dauntless hovered over Thala, its battered hull a symbol of resilience. Humanity had planted the seeds of hope, and now, alongside the Thalori, they would nurture them. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, the Kazith were watching, unaware that the fire of humanity had only begun to burn. The calm over Thala was deceptive. Sensors aboard the Dauntless picked up a shadow moving beyond the far reaches of the planet's orbit. Jun Park squinted at the display. They're coming back, and they're bringing reinforcements. Aria's jaw tightened. Larger than before, faster, smarter, they've adapted to our tactics. Captain Morin stood, his gaze steady. Then we must adapt faster. Humanity doesn't just fight. We learn, we innovate, and we protect. Alert all Thalori defenses. This is the moment we've prepared for. In the cavern cities below, Thalori engineers accelerated fortifications, energy barriers flickering into existence. Children and families were ushered into deep safety zones. Every Thalori knew now that survival depended on the humans and on themselves. The Kazith fleet appeared on the horizon like a dark storm, their jagged hulls bristling with new energy weaponry. Malik's grin was tight. They've upgraded. Let's see if Earth ingenuity can keep up. The Dauntless moved into position, using the canyon's natural geometry for cover and tactical advantage. Aria coordinated human and Thalori energy fields. If we synchronize our pulses, we can create interference zones. They'll think the canyon is collapsing, and it will split their formation. Jun Park added, I'll guide the evacuation routes below and launch thruster decoys. They'll think the Thalori are fleeing in one direction, but we'll lead them into traps. The first salvo of Kazith energy blasts tore through the atmosphere, striking canyon walls and sending showers of crystal shards raining down. Captain Morin's voice rang out, Hold your positions. Focus on precision, not panic. The Dauntless executed a daring maneuver, spinning through the canyon while firing synchronized energy pulses with Thalori conduits. The resulting cascade of light created a visual and electronic labyrinth that disoriented the enemy fleet. Malik laughed, tension threading through his voice. Let's show them why humans survive. Aria's fingers flew over the controls. I'm redirecting energy into the canyon walls, creating artificial avalanches and sonic bursts. They'll be trapped if they follow their instincts. Jun guided the Thalori evacuations, coordinating multiple exits through tunnels that twisted unpredictably. They won't expect this. Every corridor leads somewhere safe or into one of our traps. The Kazith stumbled into the chaos, ships colliding and tumbling, while humans and Thalori used every tool at their disposal. For every energy blast, a countermeasure; for every trap, a lure. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, individual acts of bravery shone through. Lena ran through collapsing tunnels, carrying injured Thalori children to safety, her energy shield flickering under the strain. She ignored pain and fear, focusing on life. Jun Park guided convoys of civilians through dangerous terrain, using his own body as a shield when a Kazith scout fired a precision blast. Move, don't stop. We're not leaving anyone behind. Aria stayed in the command deck, recalculating, adjusting, improvising. Each second meant life or death. Each decision could tip the balance. She felt exhaustion gnawing at her, but also the unmistakable thrill of rising to the impossible. Captain Morin led from the front, personally directing critical maneuvers. Focus on what you can control. Humans adapt, humans fight, and humans protect. That is our strength. Malik, working alongside Thalori engineers, rigged experimental energy conduits to create controlled explosions, scattering enemy formations. Sparks flew across the cavern as they laughed briefly through the tension. Nothing like a little controlled chaos to teach aliens a lesson. The battle raged for hours, each side testing the limits of endurance and strategy. Slowly, the combined forces of humans and Thalori began to dominate. Aria detected a critical flaw in the Kazith flagship. Their energy matrix is unstable. If we overload it, the fleet will lose coordination. Captain Morin nodded. Jun, guide the civilians clear. Malik, Aria, focus fire on that target. Lena, keep everyone alive below. Energy beams converged on the flagship. Cracks formed along its hull, arcs of plasma tearing through it like lightning. The enemy fleet, leaderless and disoriented, began to retreat in disarray. Even as victory neared, Morin's voice remained calm and commanding. We win, but we do not underestimate them. This is only the first wave. Humanity's greatest weapons were not just technology or numbers, they were courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to abandon others. Thalori engineers marveled at human improvisation. They think differently, one elder said. They do not fear the impossible. They find paths where none exist. Captain Morin addressed his crew after the battle. This is what it means to be human. Not to dominate, but to defend. Not to despair, but to adapt. Not to flee, but to stand. Today we have not only saved Thala, we have inspired hope across the stars. Jun Park wiped blood and sweat from his brow. We've done it, but we've also shown them what humans are capable of. They'll remember this. Arya, exhausted, smiled faintly. We've proved ourselves, not just to them, but to ourselves. Malik added with a grin, and next time we'll make it look even easier. As the Kazith retreated, Thala's civilians emerged from tunnels, their crystalline forms shimmering with relief. Families reunited, and the air buzzed with cautious joy. Lena checked on each survivor, her energy shields still humming. They're alive, all of them, we did it. Tomas Novak translated the Thalori gratitude. You are not like any we have known. You are fierce, clever, and unyielding. You are the fire that burns in darkness. Captain Morin watched the stars, knowing this was only the beginning. We've won a battle, not a war. The Kazith will return. But now we are ready. Humanity leads, and together we will protect all who cannot defend themselves. Above Thala, the Dauntless hovered, battered but victorious. Humanity had risen to the occasion once again, demonstrating the unbreakable spirit, ingenuity, and courage that would define their legacy across the galaxy. The fire of humanity had ignited not only on Thala, but in the hearts of every being who witnessed their heroism, and it would not be extinguished. The sun rose over Thala, casting golden streaks through the crystalline forests and reflecting in the smooth surfaces of the newly reinforced canyon cities. The planet was alive again, not just with flora and fauna, but with hope. Captain Morin surveyed the settlements from the Dauntless, orbiting low for observation. We've survived the Kazith assault, he said quietly to himself, but survival is only the beginning. Now we build a future worth defending. Lena Bat coordinated the establishment of permanent field hospitals and clinics. The injuries from the battle had mostly healed, but trauma lingered. Humans trained Thalori healers in adaptive care techniques, blending energy stabilization with crystal biology. One child, shy and trembling, approached her. Lena knelt, hands open. You're safe now, she said softly. You will grow and you will shine. We are here to make sure that happens. The Thalori child's eyes shimmered brighter than the surrounding crystals, a silent promise that life would endure. Arya and Tomas worked closely with Thalori elders to establish a permanent council, a joint human Thalori governance for defense and planetary reconstruction. This is more than just surviving attacks, Arya said. It's about learning from each other. Sharing knowledge, culture, and wisdom. One elder's fractals glimmered as they spoke through Tomas. We have seen humans in battle. Now we see them in peace. You are not conquerors. You are guardians. Human art, music, and storytelling began to intertwine with Thalori traditions. Holodecks and crystal forums hosted cultural exchanges where humans marveled at Thala's harmonic energy architecture, while Thalori absorbed Earth's literature, music, and history. Jun Park smiled as he guided a group through a hybrid facility, part human tech lab, part Thalori energy hub. We can share everything: energy, propulsion, agriculture. Knowledge is the strongest defense of all. Human engineers and Thalori artisans worked together to restore infrastructure. Energy fields replaced damaged power conduits, tunnels stabilized, and communication networks linked the settlements like glowing veins of light. Malik experimented with hybrid weapons designed solely for deterrence, not destruction. We're not just preparing for war, he said. We are creating peace through strength. They won't attack if they know we can defend ourselves and our allies. Arya oversaw the integration of human propulsion tech into Thalori transit systems, enabling rapid troop and supply movement. Speed is safety, she explained. If a threat comes, we can respond faster than they can even plan. Even agriculture benefited. Humans shared crop rotation techniques, hydroponics, and renewable energy strategies. Thalori plants adapted, producing more energy for settlement power grids. Captain Morin observed quietly, "We're not just helping them survive," he said. "We are teaching them to thrive. That is the human way." The council convened regularly to strategize against future Kazith threats. Humans emphasized diplomacy, intelligence sharing, and joint training exercises. One elder remarked, "You teach without taking control. You lead without domination. This is a path we have never known." Arya translated, "They respect that we don't seek to rule them. We only seek to protect and empower." Thomas noted, "That's why they trust us, because humans do what's right, not what's easy." Captain Morin addressed the assembled Thalori and humans. "We are stronger together, not because of our weapons, but because of our courage, creativity, and compassion. If the Kazith return, they will face not one species, but two, united and unbreakable." Life on Thala began to normalize, but small acts of bravery and care continued to shine. Lena organized wellness programs for traumatized Thalori, teaching meditation and energy balancing alongside human psychology. She became a symbol of healing, not just medicine. Jun Park led engineering teams through treacherous areas, personally ensuring safety and efficiency. "Every bridge we build, every tunnel we reinforce, saves lives," he reminded his team. Malik trained Thalori warriors in tactical thinking, improvisation, and energy control. "Courage isn't about fighting blindly," he said. "It's about knowing your limits, trusting your allies, and acting with clarity under pressure." Arya and Thomas collaborated on mapping Kazith intelligence patterns, teaching Thalori analysts how to anticipate enemy movements using logic, probability, and creativity. Despite the calm, Captain Morin remained vigilant. Reports indicated distant Kazith fleets regrouping, adapting to previous defeats. "They've learned," he said. "We've bought time, but we cannot underestimate them. Our strength is in preparation, foresight, and unity. Humanity doesn't wait for danger. We shape the battlefield before it reaches us." Thomas added, "They will come again, but now Thala is ready, and humanity is here not as conquerors, but as guides, mentors, and guardians." The Dauntless stood as a sentinel above Thala, a reminder that humans would always rise to defend life, hope, and freedom wherever they were needed. Weeks turned into months. The settlements thrived under the human-Thalori partnership. Children learned both human and Thalori arts. Energy plants bloomed in hybrid farms. Defensive networks were perfected. Lena smiled as she watched a group of young Thalori practice coordinated energy manipulation. "They're learning resilience," she said softly, "and joy. That's something humans excel at sharing." Arya and Jun worked late into the night, integrating new technologies with the Thalori's energy conduits. Sparks flew, laughter echoed through the lab, and progress hummed with life. Captain Morin reflected from the command deck. "We've done more than survive battles. We've built hope, trust, and unity. We've shown that humanity's strength is not just in war, it's in courage, compassion, and ingenuity." Malik added, "And when the Kazith come back, they'll learn that too. They'll see that you cannot break humans or those we choose to protect. Not with fear, not with force, not with cruelty." The sun set over Thala, bathing the crystal cities in golden light. Humanity had become more than visitors, they had become guardians. And the fire of humanity, kindled on Earth and now burning across the stars, would illuminate even the darkest corners of the galaxy. Weeks after the reconstruction of Thala, a tension hung in the air. Sensors aboard the Dauntless detected the approach of a massive Kazith fleet, larger and more heavily armed than anything seen before. Captain Morin stood on the bridge, arms folded. "This is it. They've learned from their mistakes, but so have we. Humans don't just adapt, we innovate. Today, we show them why no one can break us or those we protect." Lena walked past, her energy shield humming faintly. "Everyone is ready, Captain. Civilians are safe, defenses are at full strength. and the Thalori are trained. If anyone can stop them, it's us. Aria tapped at the control panel. Their formation is designed to overwhelm, but I've identified weak points in their coordination. With precise strikes, we can turn their strength against them. Jun Park smiled wryly. Then let's give them a welcome they'll never forget. The Kazith fleet descended like a storm of jagged metal and dark energy, blackening the skies over Thala. Their flagship, massive and imposing, led the charge. Energy blasts lit the atmosphere as Thalori defenses and human cannons met the assault head-on. The ground shook beneath the impact of orbital strikes, while humans and Thalori coordinated countermeasures in real time. Captain Morin's voice rang out, "Hold formation, focus on precision, protect the civilians and the city at all costs." Lena led squads of medics and engineers through the chaos, stabilizing collapsing structures and tending to the wounded. Each life saved became a beacon of resilience. Arya and Malik directed tactical strikes, using human ingenuity to exploit weaknesses in the Kazith formation. Jun Park guided Thalori energy channels, creating interference fields that disrupted enemy communications and targeting systems. The humans' advantage wasn't just in technology, it was in creativity, adaptability, and fearlessness. Arya devised a daring plan. Synchronized energy pulses from Thalori conduits would create a temporary quantum disruption zone. Within it, enemy ships would lose coordination for crucial seconds, enough for the Dauntless and allied forces to strike critical targets. Malik grinned. They won't know what hit them. Jun Park deployed tactical decoys, holographic fleets that mimicked human and Thalori positions. The Kazith fired blindly, wasting energy and exposing their real positions. Captain Morin personally led a strike team in the thick of battle, guiding fighters through debris fields and launching precise attacks against enemy capital ships. "Remember," he shouted over the comms, "we protect, we endure, we fight smart. That is what it means to be human." Even amidst the chaos, individual acts of courage shone brightly. Lena carried wounded Thalori civilians through collapsing tunnels, braving falling debris and Kazith fire. Each rescue was a testament to the human will to protect life. Jun Park coordinated evacuation routes, putting himself in harm's way to ensure safe passage. "Move, don't stop. We don't leave anyone behind." Arya remained at the command deck, her mind a whirlwind of calculations and adaptations. Each pulse, each diversion, each strategy executed perfectly because of her unwavering focus. Malik piloted a hybrid assault craft into the thick of the Kazith fleet, detonating energy charges that disrupted enemy formations while signaling precise attack points for allied ships. Thalori warriors, inspired by human leadership, fought with synchronized precision. Their energy blades and crystal weapons became extensions of the humans' tactical vision. The battle reached a critical moment when the Kazith flagship attempted a massive energy surge aimed directly at Thala's core city. Captain Morin called the decisive maneuver, "All forces, converge, target the flagship's core matrix." Timing is everything, strike together. Arya coordinated energy pulses from thousands of Thalori conduits, creating a focused overload that destabilized the flagship's shield. Simultaneously, human fighters executed high-speed flanking maneuvers. Malik led a daring boarding mission, placing energy charges directly within the enemy ship. Sparks flew, hull integrity failed, and the flagship shuddered violently. The Kazith fleet faltered as their leader fell. Without guidance, formations collapsed and morale crumbled. Allied forces pressed their advantage, systematically pushing the invaders back into retreat. Victory came at a cost. Several human and Thalori fighters were lost in the final push, their actions ensuring the safety of countless others. Lena, witnessing the bravery of her team, felt both grief and pride. "They gave everything for others," she whispered. "That's the essence of humanity, courage for those who cannot defend themselves." Jun Park reflected on the battle's intensity. We survived because we never acted alone. Every life mattered, every choice mattered. That is what makes us strong. Captain Morin addressed his crew and allies. Today, we have not only defended a planet, we have defined what it means to be human. We act with courage, ingenuity, and compassion. That is our legacy. The Kazith fleet fled, scattered, and broken. Thala stood victorious, its cities shining brighter than ever. Humans and Thalori celebrated cautiously, honoring those lost and cherishing those saved. Elders of Thala spoke through Thomas. You are more than allies. You are the fire that burns in darkness. Your courage, your wisdom, your humanity, these will be remembered across generations. Captain Morin looked to the stars, the dauntless hovering above Thala. We've done it, not because we sought glory, but because we refused to stand aside when others needed us. Humanity leads, protects, and inspires. That is our strength, and it will never fade. Aria added softly, we've shown them that life, hope, and freedom are worth fighting for. And we've proven that humans rise to any challenge. Malik smiled, exhausted but triumphant. And next time, if there is one, they'll know exactly who they're up against. Thala began to rebuild stronger than before. Humans remained as teachers, protectors, and partners, ensuring that both technology and philosophy of courage, innovation, and compassion flourished. Children learned human stories of resilience alongside Thalori legends of light. Engineers merged human and Thalori designs, creating infrastructure that was efficient, durable, and beautiful. Captain Morin knew that this victory was just the beginning. Humanity had proven its strength not through domination, but through courage, ingenuity, and the unwavering will to protect others. The fire of humanity had not only burned through the darkness, it had illuminated the galaxy, inspiring hope wherever it reached. And as long as humans stood, no threat, no matter how powerful, could extinguish that light. Months after the Kazith retreat, Thala hummed with life. Crystal cities glittered under the twin suns, farms flourished with hybrid energy crops, and children's laughter echoed through the streets. Humans and Thalori worked side by side, not just as allies, but as friends, mentors, and co-creators of a vibrant new society. Captain Morin walked along one of the newly rebuilt bridges, observing Thalori artisans crafting intricate light sculptures. It's incredible, he murmured to Arya. They've taken our guidance and made something entirely their own. Arya smiled. That's the beauty of humanity. We inspire, we guide, but we don't impose. We give knowledge and let others turn it into something greater. Lena Bat oversaw healing centers where humans and Thalori shared medical practices. Energy stabilizers glowed softly, blending Thalori crystal techniques with human regenerative technology. The results were remarkable: lives saved, ailments treated, and hope restored. News of humanity's heroism spread quickly across neighboring star systems. Transmissions arrived from distant planets, alien species seeking to meet the humans who had defended Thala. Ambassadors from multiple worlds arrived to express gratitude and curiosity. One envoy remarked, "We feared the Kazith. We doubted anyone could stop them. Yet humans, strangers to our stars, stood firm, united with the Thalori, and defeated what we thought invincible." Captain Morin addressed the gathered delegates. "We did not act for glory. We acted because it was right. That is what humanity does. We protect, we endure, and we fight for life wherever it is threatened. We hope others will do the same." Arya and Thomas gave demonstrations of combined human-Thalori technology. Energy pulses synchronized with tactical grids, defensive shields, and advanced communication systems impressed the assembled species. Malik led a display of hybrid combat techniques. Fighters coordinated across planetary and orbital levels, using ingenuity and adaptability rather than sheer force. The message was clear: human strategy and compassion could overcome even the deadliest foes. Thala became the headquarters for a growing coalition of allied worlds. Humans were asked to serve as advisors, trainers, and mediators, helping species coordinate defense and share knowledge. Jun Park worked tirelessly to integrate transportation networks across planets, combining human propulsion tech with alien systems. "It's more than moving people," he said. "It's about connecting minds, resources, and hope." Lena trained a new generation of interstellar healers, blending human medical techniques with alien practices. "Healing is universal," she told her students. "The more lives we save, the stronger the galaxy becomes." Captain Morin coordinated strategy councils, always emphasizing unity and moral clarity. "Strength without compassion is tyranny. Leadership without courage is meaningless." Humanity's role is to teach, inspire, and protect, not dominate. Stories of the battle against the Kazith became legend. Human ingenuity, combined with Thalori wisdom, showed that even overwhelming odds could be overcome with creativity, collaboration, and courage. Children studied the heroes of the defense, Lena saving civilians, Jun guiding evacuations, Arya devising the decisive plan, Malik leading daring strikes, and Captain Morin exemplifying calm, strategic leadership. Each story emphasized that heroism was not about strength alone, but about heart, mind, and courage in the face of danger. Elders of Thala remarked, "Your species does not simply survive. You elevate those around you. You do not seek dominion, you seek the light." The phrase "fire of humanity" became a symbol across the galaxy, a testament to resilience, compassion, and the ability to inspire hope even in darkness. Human and Thalori communities became deeply interwoven. Festivals combined human music, Thalori energy displays, and interstellar traditions from visiting worlds. Students learned multiple languages and techniques, exchanging knowledge as naturally as breathing. Captain Morin watched one festival from above, smiling at children playing together, humans teaching alien games, and Thalori artisans demonstrating crystal energy manipulation. "This," he said quietly, "is why we fight. Not for power, not for glory, but for the chance to see life thrive in every corner of the galaxy." Lena joined him, her gaze soft. "We saved a planet, but more than that, we sparked a movement. We showed that humanity isn't just about survival, it's about hope, courage, and the will to make a difference." With Thala as a beacon of unity, other star systems began to adopt similar alliances. Humans advised on planetary defense, diplomacy, and innovation. The Kazith, though not destroyed, retreated to distant regions of space, wary of facing united, strategic, and inspired resistance. Humanity's presence became a deterrent, not through fear, but through the reputation of ingenuity, moral clarity, and unyielding courage. Arya prepared a report for the Galactic Council. "Our success was not just in battle, but in demonstrating that life is worth protecting, knowledge is worth sharing, and courage is contagious." Malik added, "And they'll remember that humans never give up. We adapt, we create, we rise. That's why they'll think twice before returning." Captain Morin, standing on Thala's surface under the twin suns, addressed a crowd of humans, Thalori, and allied species. "We've seen the worst the galaxy can throw at us, but we've also seen the best: courage, ingenuity, and hope. Humanity is more than just a species. We are a force for life, for light, and for the future. Wherever danger threatens, wherever hope flickers, humanity will be there. We rise to every challenge, we protect what matters, and we inspire all who witness our fire." Children cheered, adults nodded, some shedding tears of relief and pride. Across the galaxy, transmissions carried that same message. The fire of humanity was alive, burning brightly, and illuminating the path for countless worlds. Lena smiled, looking at the horizon. "This is just the beginning," she said. Captain Morin put a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, but the first step was the hardest, and we've taken it together." As the sun set, casting Thala in golden light, humans and their allies knew the truth. No matter the darkness, no matter the threat, the fire of humanity would endure, undaunted, unwavering, and unstoppable. Years later, Thala became a hub of learning, innovation, and diplomacy. Humans traveled between star systems, spreading knowledge, hope, and courage. Stories of the Kazith War became interstellar legend, inspiring generations to embrace collaboration, ingenuity, and moral courage. Captain Morin, now an elder, reflected on the journey. We did not conquer, we did not dominate, we inspired, we healed, we defended. Humanity's greatest strength is not its weapons or technology, it is its heart, its mind, and its will to rise. And as long as that fire burns, the galaxy will never be without hope. The stars above Thala shimmered brighter than ever, a testament to a species that had shown what it truly meant to be human.